down for over 2 hours. I hope y'all check that video out. Now, usually when I make a video such as that, I have a commentary right behind it, but I couldn't do it in this particular instance because I was so angry and outraged, and I didn't want to say the wrong thing to get the video banned or the channel taken down. So I said I just calm down a little bit and just make a follow-up video. Now, I had someone responded on the video that I made yesterday when I was talking about the Trump supporters, a hybrid, of course, right? And this person didn't like what I had to present. So I understand, you know, that they're butthurt right now because now they're being exposed for the demons that they are. Because these are not human beings, believe it or not. Not all white people are humans. Not all black people are humans. But for the most part, they are being exposed. America, the corporation, this bitch is being exposed for what she really is. And the inhabitants that make up America, you know, the ones that came and stole the land and claim it as theirs, they're being exposed and they're losing their minds. So, family, when you hear me come on here and I make videos about a certain demographic of people, certain group of people, and a lot of y'all like, why this guy's always angry? Why you always talking about? Why not? What do you mean why I'm always talking about these people? Why the fuck not? They are the oppressing class. They are the oppressing ones. You know what I'm saying? To see those children on the ground screaming for their mother, she couldn't even help them because she herself was, you know, on the ground, on the asphalt, you know, begging for her motherfucking freedom, her life. These are innocent people, family. I could see if they was, you know, they did a crime, and of course, sometimes, you know, we as parents, when we commit a crime, that sometimes the children have to pay for it. But in this case, the woman was innocent. They said that the vehicle was allegedly stolen. How long does it take for you to identify a stolen vehicle? Don't take 2 hours. But what it was, family, what I've realized with these hybrids, right, these mutants, they feed off of negativity. They feed off of anger and fear. And it just came to me, like the Most High spoke to my spirit and told me the reason why you see them do this shit and put it on the news for us to see it, it's because they want to get a reaction, right? Problem, reaction, and solution. They want us to be angry. And when we get angry and we do certain things, then they try to get us and put us in concentration camp. And not only that, they feed off our fucking energy. They feed off our emotions. This is why they create sports arenas and basketball, because every time you react to a situation, whether it be sports or even in church, anything negative, they feed off of that shit. They literally gather. Yo, I know it sounds crazy, man, but yo, I've been doing a lot of research on these fucking hybrids, man, and I've come to a conclusion that the more angry we get, especially anger, they hate that. Well, when I say hate, they love anger. They love when we get angry because they feed off that shit. They like fucking emotional vampires and shit, right? Emotion vampires. That's what they are. Because I'm saying to myself, like, with everything that occurred with George Floyd, right, and the protests, why would they continue to do what they do? It's simply because, first of all, you cannot reason with the motherfucking Terminator, right? You can't reason with, because they don't have any heart, they don't have any soul, they don't have any kind of compassion. They're heartless fucking beings. These majorities police officers, they don't have any compassion. These are ex-military trained fucking assassin that they hire to police, you know, the black community. And for us, right, actually for them, black people are the enemy. And you know, when they go into combat, family, you know, when they go into combat, any enemy, they, by all means necessary, they will take them out. And this is one of the reasons why you see it's easy for them to put a family, a black family, including children, on the ground and handcuffing them. Then they want to know why the fuck we hate these motherfuckers.
Story that you need to see. Colorado police under fire for taking a woman and 4 clearly unarmed children, the youngest just 6 years old, and holding them in custody, often at gunpoint, forcing them to lie, cuffed face down, as you see here on the ground, scared and humiliated. This was in a salon parking lot for upwards of 2 hours.
There's kids. There's kids. They had guns on kids.
You hearing them? No!
That is hard to watch, even for a few seconds. Imagine living through it. That went on, as I mentioned, for upwards of 2 hours. This is America. This happens all the time. Most of the time, I'll be honest with you, it's not even on the national news. And tonight, what's new is the woman you saw there, her name is Brittany Gilliam, is now suing Aurora, Colorado. She alleges in court that entire spectacle was an invalid and illegal arrest. She alleges the police were breaking the law. She also notes in her new suit that it hurt and traumatized those innocent children. You heard their cries. She says they now struggle with basic activities like eating and sleeping, and they are in therapy for this. The police department, to be clear, is not even claiming they had an accurate reason for the arrest and conduct you see there by the officers. Instead, they do apologize, and they say they incorrectly thought that that vehicle was stolen. It wasn't. An explanation that many law enforcement experts say does not even justify the force and guns drawn that you saw. Now, here's what else is new tonight. You may have heard that elections have consequences. So do social movements sometimes. The protests over the May killing of George Floyd led Colorado to reform police rules in June, passing a new law that bans some aggressive tactics and also a type of automatic legal immunity for officers, which means they can, when warranted, be held personally responsible in court. This is one of the first cases based on that new law. And while everyone's entitled to their day in court, this is the first time citizens in that state have actually been entitled to take on police officers directly and personally for their own day in court. It's very important, and we have some special guests on this story. We are joined now by the attorney for Miss Gilliam and her family. His name is David Lane. We're also joined by Mark Claxton, who's a retired NYPD detective, director of political affairs for the Black Law Enforcement Alliance. Good evening to both of you. David, it's hard. I just want to start with the human part. It's hard to even watch a little bit of that. You're representing someone who lived through it. Walk us through first the reality, and then we could talk about the law.
Well, Brittany was seriously traumatized because her 4 closest relatives were screaming for her to help, and she was completely helpless. She was trying to show the police her registration and her license plate number matched the registration. The police wouldn't look at a piece of paper to determine that this is not a stolen car. These kids had been for weeks and months seeing on the news every night white police officers killing African Americans for no reason whatsoever. And these little kids get pulled out of a car at gunpoint. And how any cop believes there is any justification for pointing a gun at a 6-year-old child, it's beyond me. But these kids this is a life-changing event for these kids. And we are now taking this civil rights statute that the Colorado legislature passed in July. We're going into.
I'm only organizing it to say I want to get to that because I mentioned it.
Sure.
But it's very important, just in my role moderating, to make sure we're clear on what happened. So thank you for what the family's going through. Before we turn to the law, Mark, what we saw on tape there, what the available evidence shows, is this proper policing?
Not at all. And it's hard to reject the claim that the occupants of the car were traumatized and victimized. But, early on, even the police attempted to make the stop appear ordinary. I remember hearing their spokespersons indicate that they're trained to conduct a full-on felony stop for all suspected stolen vehicles. That's absolute nonsense. The reality is, all too often with Black people, it's important to put that in, the police confuse reasonable force options with a mandate to use force. Built into policing is a wide range of discretion. And if you doubt that, look at the extraordinary restraint that was shown by the police officers at the Capitol on the 6th. If ever it was reasonable to use an escalated amount of force, that was it. But with all the video that you've seen thus far, even police officers being actively assaulted or retreating, they didn't even unholster their weapons. So as far as a police perspective, this stop was absolutely, totally avoidable and unnecessary and obviously traumatizing. Traumatizing, just as you indicated, Ari, just to watch it and the vulnerability of these young ladies, especially on the heels of what occurred with that very police department with Elijah McClain.